Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the webinar series of IEEE MTTAP EMC chapter Islamabad. I am Dr. Noshirwan Shoaib, the chair of IEEE MTTAP and EMC joint chapter Islamabad at Research Institute for Microwave and Millimeter Wave Studies, Islamabad NUST H12 campus. So today we welcome our speaker, Dr. Faqih Hussain from King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, Saudi Arabia. He will deliver the talk on reconfigurable MIMO antennas, recent trends and developments. Dr. Faqih is currently a faculty member at King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, Saudi Arabia since September 2015. He received his BSc Electrical Engineering degree from University of Engineering Technology, Peshawar in 2003 with distinction, and MS degree in System Engineering from Pias, Pakistan in 2005. Prior to joining KFUPM, he served as senior engineer at a public sector R&D organization in Pakistan from 2005 to 2011. He obtained his PhD degree in electrical engineering in January 2015 from King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. Dr. Hussain has more than 75 publications in peer-reviewed journals and conference, 8 patents granted and 12 filed to US Trademark and Patent Office. He is editorial board member of Wiley, Microwave Optical and Technology Letters, and also serving as a reviewer for IEEE, IET, Wiley journals. His current research areas are reconfigurable antennas, 4G and 5G integrated antenna design, and 5G enabled antenna design. So I welcome Dr. Rafaqat, and I'm very thankful to him for sparing time to deliver this talk. So without any further delay, I request Dr. Rafaqat to please proceed and start his talk. Over to you, Dr. Rafaqat. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Hi everyone. Thank you, Dr. Sherwan, for your nice introduction. In today's webinar, I will talk about reconfigurable MIMO antenna design, recent trends and development. Before proceeding, I would like to acknowledge King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals for their support, generous grants, and state-of-the-art research labs and facilities that help me to conduct my research here at KFUPM. Here's the outline of my talk. After introducing the topic, I will briefly talk about reconfigurable MIMO antenna designs in various types of reconfigurable antenna, their design principle, physics behind these antennas operation. And the next part is basically, or the second part is basically will be more intense for recent trends and development and application of reconfigurable MIMO antenna design with a focus on frequency reconfigurable and pattern reconfigurable antenna design. And at the end, I will conclude my presentation. According to McKinsey Global Institute, the 12 disruptive technologies that they believe that will revolutionize the world by 2025. McKinsey Global Institute is basically an independent organization that conducts research for the business and commercial aspects of the technologies for the future technologies. So according to McKinsey, out of 12 technologies, the top 6 technologies are more or less related to RF electronics or RF engineering. And top of these, if you can see, is the mobile internet. And it is estimated that the revenue that it will generate by 2025 is between 3.7 to 10.8 trillion dollar annually. This shows that this technology, the RF or the mobile internet, have a commercial potential and business potential in future. If we look into the technologies, as we are aware of that the mobile user equipments and wireless devices are increasing tremendously. Here, it's a global internet growth and trends that's by Cisco VNI Global IP Traffic Forecast for 2017 to 2022. According to this forecast, we will have 4.8 billion internet users, 28.5 billion more devices and connection by year 2022. Broadband speed will increase from 39 megabits per second to 75.4 megabits per second, while the video viewing traffic is expected to increase from 75% to 82%. So now with this tremendous growth in internet connections and internet users, we have now more wireless handheld devices. This leads us to high data rate requirement. And when we are talking about any device, then we are expecting that it should perform multitude of functions, and it is also expected that they should perform across several frequency bands. So we will not have only one device for one particular band. We are expecting that one device should cover several bands. And definitely we are always looking for compact wireless handheld devices with small form factor. Now in this part, I will talk briefly about reconfigurable antenna design and reconfigurable MIMO antenna design. The history of reconfigurable antenna design is dated back to 1983 with the patent of D. Schobert. That's the concept that was first appeared to public. In 1999, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency initiated a project called Reconfigurable Aperture Project, and the main purpose of this project was to find out the potential application of reconfigurable antennas. Since then, these reconfigurable antennas are widely used, are expected to use in broadband communication, cognitive radio, MIMO system, and other applications. So here, basically in this talk, we are talking about two different things: reconfigurable antennas and MIMO antennas. So reconfigurable and MIMO antennas are two different, and here we are basically synergizing the features of both antennas to help us to enhance the features of both technology. So if you look into the history of the MIMO implementation, in 2004 in 3G, we have a CISO single input, single output network with a channel capacity of data rate of 384 kilobits per second. While in LTE, we have a single user MIMO with a speed of 300 megabits per second. In LTE Advanced, that was implemented or suggested in 2017, we have multiple user MIMO with an expected speed of 1 gigabits per second. And now we are in the era of 5G, and we are talking about massive MIMO with a speed of 20 gigabits per second. As I mentioned, reconfigurable antennas and MIMO antennas are two different topics, and we are basically merging them together to get the benefits of both technologies. So why we are using or why we are interested in reconfigurable antenna design? Reconfigurable antenna design is an important part of modern communication devices. So if we have a we want to dynamically improve the performance of a communication system in changing scenarios, we are looking for that we can change the antenna parameters like its resonance frequency so that the antenna can operate across various frequency bands, its polarization or radiation pattern based on the desired performance of these systems. So now when we are talking about these different parameters, so if we are talking individually, these we will have antenna for each type for each parameters, but now we are basically obtaining different characteristics of different parameters using single antenna elements. So here we will have eliminate multiple antennas that result with compact low cost system. In addition, we can use the spectrum resources very efficiently, avoid the spectrum congestion. So such type of reconfigurable antennas are highly suitable for mobile communication, in military, cognitive radio, satellite, or radar. So these are the potential technologies where we can use reconfigurable antennas. So now why we are using MIMO? So basically the main purpose of using MIMO is to enhance the spatial diversity or spatial multiplexing. So in a communication system, when we have number of antennas on transmitter side and number of antennas on the receiver side, and basically this is the configuration of MIMO antenna, where we have number of antennas on transmitter and number of antennas on receivers. So generally in communication system, we will not have, or it is very difficult to have a line of sight communication. We will have certain reflecting surfaces where the transmitted signal will be bounced back, or there will be some scattering in the communication channel. So now basically MIMO antennas are used to enhance the spatial diversity, to improve the signal to noise ratio, reliability and link quality of the fading channels, while spatial multiplexing of the MIMO antenna is used to increase the data throughput capability of antenna system. And we are also familiar with that the MIMO antennas perform better in non-line of sight scenarios. So now the two technologies that we have discussed, reconfigurable antennas and MIMO antennas. So when we combine them to get all the features of reconfigurability and MIMO antennas, this basically enhance the system performance by 10-fold compared to the conventional wireless systems. What are the different types of reconfigurable antennas? So in this part, I will briefly discuss it. So basically, we have three types of reconfigurable antennas and reconfigurable MIMO antennas. These are basically frequency reconfigurable, pattern reconfigurable, and polarization reconfigurable antennas. These three are basics, and then we can combine, and we call them as hybrid reconfigurability, where we can have frequency reconfigurable together with pattern reconfigurable antennas, or pattern with polarization reconfigurable antenna, and so on. And some designs that are also reported that in literature that they have frequency, pattern, and polarization reconfigurability in one design. So basically here we are talking the three types: frequency, pattern, and polarization reconfigurable antennas. And this is the main talk, or the main topic of today's talk, that we will look into details the recent trends of such antennas. How we can achieve the reconfigurability, or the various techniques that are available, are methods to achieve reconfigurability. If we broadly classify them, they will be electrical, optical, physical, and material change. In electrical, these are the most popular one because of its easy integration and used to achieve the reconfigurability. And here basically three parameters or three components are important for us that help us in achieving the reconfigurability. These are the radio frequency MEMS, micro electromechanical switches, and PIN diodes. So basically these two are switches, while varactor diodes we are using to achieve reconfigurability by reactively loading some of the antenna parts. So here basically this is not varying the by loading the antenna with certain value of the capacitance, and it can be varied in a smooth manner by applying reverse bias voltage across the varactor diode. The second technique that is also reported in literature is about photo conductive material, or optical technique. Basically, this is also a switching where we are using light to switch on or off the certain part of antenna. The third part, or the third technique that we are using, is the physical, where we are basically altering the structure of the antenna to help us to achieve certain reconfigurability. And fourth one is material change, to change the relative permittivity by applying certain voltage to get the reconfigurability. The fourth one is the most difficult in terms of implementation, while electrical one is the most easiest one that we can use. Definitely every technique that we are using have certain advantages and disadvantages. So all the reconfigurable antennas in today's talk that we will be discussing will have one technique or the other. So we will look into more details that how we use these techniques to achieve the reconfigurability. So the first antenna are the first reconfigurability part that I mentioned is the frequency reconfigurable antennas. So frequency reconfigurable antennas basically switch its operational frequency or its resonance frequency across different bands. Let's suppose we are having one antenna that is operating at 1.8 gigahertz. So is there a certain way that we can switch this to operate at 2.45 gigahertz or 3.6 gigahertz using the same antenna structure? So basically this is the basic scenario where we are using frequency reconfigurable antennas. So what's the physics behind antenna operation to achieve the reconfigurability? So we know that the resonance frequency or operating frequency depends on the effective electrical length of the antenna. So if we achieve different electrical length at different frequency using the same structure, then we will be able to get the frequency reconfigurability in our design. Frequency reconfigurability is also achieved by changing the circuital characteristic of antenna by varactor diode or other means, and we will dig more into the details. The mechanism, as I mentioned, the 4 types will also be used to achieve the frequency reconfigurability of the antenna design. So let's look into different techniques that have been reported in literature for achieving the frequency reconfigurability. So here in this design, basically this is a dipole antenna. In this dipole antenna, we are basically embedding 2 switches, and these 2 switches are basically optical switches. So I can switch on or switch off these 2 switches by electrical means, or sorry, by optical or by light. So here, when these 2 switches are switch closed, then we will have an antenna with this, I mean the half lambda by 2, or the total dipole will be this one. So here this antenna is resonating at 2.16 gigahertz, while when we switch on these 2 components, then we will have a longer dimension or large dimension of the antenna, and this antenna will operate at opposite. When we have a shorter, then it will be operating at 3.15 gigahertz, and when we have a longer length or large length, it will be operating at 2.16 gigahertz. So the next technique that we are using is basically using the varactor diode for achieving the reconfigurability. So here we have this slot antenna structure. In this slot antenna structure, we have here a varactor diode. Basically, this varactor diode is using to reactively load this slot structure. So by varying the capacitance of this varactor diode by applying reverse bias voltage, here you can see that this antenna can operate from almost 1.5 to 2.3 gigahertz without altering any dimensions of the antenna or any structure of the antenna. Just by applying a certain voltage to this varactor diode, we can see a smooth variation of the resonance frequency over a wider band from 1.5 to 2.2 gigahertz. So any band in between can be achieved by applying a certain voltage. So this variation is very smooth in terms of the resonance frequency when we are changing the resonance frequency of the antenna. So the 2 techniques that we have discussed here, one was using the switches, which will help us to achieve the reconfigurability over a distinct band. As I mentioned, the 2.16 gigahertz or 3.15 gigahertz. So using switches will give us distinct operating bands, while when we are using the varactor diode, we will not have the distinct band. We will have a smooth variation of the resonance band over a wider range of the frequencies. Basically, the next technique that I would like to share it with you here, we are using the PIN diode as well as the varactor diode together. So now this is somehow integrated design that is using switches as well as reactive loading. So basically such techniques are useful to get the distinct frequency band as well as the smooth variation. So here In mode 1, when I'm using only pin diode, I'm getting two frequency bands, that is at 1.1 or 2.48 gigahertz. But when I'm using the varactor diode, here we are getting the three bands, and here we can see that the three bands that we are getting. So now when we apply the reverse bias voltage across the varactor diode, here we can see a smooth variation of the resonance frequency over the sub 1 gigahertz band, as well as in a band at 2.5 gigahertz. So basically this is the integrated type where switch as well as varactor are used to achieve the reconfigurability. The next technique that is also reported in literature is about the structure or reconfigurability. Here you can see that we have a patch antenna, and this patch antenna is basically magnetically actuated to get frequency reconfigurability. So here in the second figure we can see that we can make a certain angle, elevate this patch to a certain angle to get the reconfigurability. So here, when it is a plane on a surface with a zero angle, here we can see that antenna is resonating around 25.6 gigahertz. But as we are elevating this and the patch structure, here you can see that it is varying. The frequency is varying, and again we are getting a smooth variation of the operating frequencies of this such type of antennas. So if it is elevated at 90 degree, here we can see that the operating band is changed from 25.6 gigahertz to almost 28 gigahertz. All those such techniques are also reported, but not as popular as we have the electrical mechanism for achieving the reconfigurability. The next type of antennas are the reconfigurable antennas that are quite popular among antenna designers and researchers is the pattern reconfigurable antenna design. So if we look back into the frequency reconfigurable antenna, we have seen that if we change the effective electrical length of antenna, we can get the frequency reconfigurability. But here the mechanism or the physics, its operation is basically different. So here basically the current arrangement or distribution of current will dictate the radiation pattern in certain direction. So we have to change the distribution of current to one part or the other part of the antenna, so to get a certain type of pattern in certain direction. So the pattern reconfigurability is basically a relationship between source current and the radiation in the far field. The techniques that we have discussed before are still valid here, and these can be achieved. The pattern reconfigurability can be achieved using switches or structure or mechanical changes, or even material change based reconfigurable antennas are also reported in literature. So here we will look into the basic philosophy of how we are achieving pattern reconfigurability. So here I have a patch antenna. So this patch antenna is radiating in broadside direction. So now I want to change it. Let's suppose I want 2 or 3 different patterns that are oriented in different directions. So here I'm basically changing its operation by using some shorting posts. So basically these shorting posts are connected to the ground plane, and here I'm using certain switches. So if I will connect these switches, then our ground plane will also become a part of radiating structure. So now the distribution of the the microstrip patch antenna, and when it will add with the ground plane, the pattern will be tilted in other direction. Similarly, if I want to tilt my pattern in the opposite direction of the original configuration, I can make these 2 posts, shorting posts, connected to the antenna. So here my antenna will be directed in other directions. So here basically based on the operation that we have, the antenna is extended, and here it has a 8 sets of diodes as well as charting boards to get reconfigurability in certain directions. So when all switches are closed, this is simply a patch antenna, and it will give me a both side pattern. When I have a set of here diode B, diode A on this side, and diode B and diode B on the opposite side. So I can switch on either these A diodes or B diodes, and here I will give a conical pattern with maximum in ZY plane if I am using the group A diode in reverse bias that are switch off, and diode B in forward bias condition, and similarly for the state 3 or mode 3 to get the conical patterns with maximum power level in the ZX direction. The next type of antenna is the polarization reconfigurable antennas that are also one of the important candidate of the reconfigurable antenna design. So unlike the principle of the frequency reconfigurability and pattern reconfigurability, we can achieve the polarization reconfigurability by changing the direction of current flow. If you look back into the pattern reconfigurable antennas, in pattern reconfigurable, basically the distribution of the current dictates or map the radiation in far field. The current distribution basically map into far field radiation characteristic. But here, when we are achieving the polarization reconfigurability, the direction of current is very important. Basically, it will help us in determining the polarization of the electric field in far field pattern. The same techniques that we have discussed, the structure, material properties, or some feeding mechanism that will be used to achieve the polarization reconfigurable antennas. When we are talking about the polarization reconfigurable antenna, it can be a linear polarized, it can be right-handed or left-handed circularly polarized, or it can be switching between linear and circular polarization. The main difficulty of this kind of reconfigurability is that for achieving the polarization reconfigurability and the pattern reconfigurability, that we want to operate the antenna at the same frequency band. We don't want that the frequency should be operating frequency should be changed. Without significantly changing the frequency, we want to achieve the polarization reconfigurability as well as the pattern reconfigurability, which is a major challenge in achieving such type of reconfigurability. So here, this is one example where it will demonstrate the polarization reconfigurability. So here we have a simple monopole design. In this monopole, we are not connecting this monopole to any diode or shorting element. This is simple monopole. So if we look into the current distribution is basically along the feed line, and this will this basically direction will detect the linear polarization of the given monopole antenna. So now basically we want to change the direction of the current to get polarization reconfigurability. So here what we will do, we have a shorting post here, or shorting element, or in other words we can say some pin diodes or switching mechanism is adopted here. So if this is switched on, here we can see that the direction of the current is basically changed, and here we can see that now the direction of the current is changing, which help us to get the circular type of polarization, or right-handed or left-handed circular polarization antennas by switching on and off either this element or the element on the other side. So basically this will give us a simple concept of that how we will achieve the polarization reconfigurability. Let me recap that what we have discussed so far. We have discussed the various type of reconfigurable antennas, types of reconfigurable antennas, and the mechanism that will be adopted or that will be used to achieve the reconfigurability. So now the most crucial part of our presentation are the elements that I want to emphasize more for researchers, for new students, for scholars, that will help them or will get more insight about the research areas of reconfigurability. So in this part, I will talk about in details about the frequency reconfigurable and pattern reconfigurable antenna design. Here I have selected certain topics that are recently reported in literature for the frequency reconfigurable based antenna, and we will go into details of each type of antenna and how we achieve the frequency reconfigurability in these antenna. It include the frequency reconfigurable antenna for cognitive radio, how we achieve the multiband antenna and with frequency reconfigurability, then the independent and concurrent frequency reconfigurable antenna. Here I will also introduce a bandwidth reconfigurable antenna design, which might be of interest to some of the audience, are integrated antenna integrated frequency reconfigurable antenna with 5G antennas or frequency band antenna with Yogi-like characteristic. So here the main concept of the cognitive radio that was first appeared in literature by J. Mottola in his PhD dissertation. Basically, in a cognitive radio, we have a sensing part of our communication system that is basically interacting with the radio environment. So based on the information that we are getting or sensing, we need to analyze it and determine the strategy. Let's suppose we have a spectrum congestion or there are certain bits that are congested. So we need to first sense it and then adopt it so that we can change the operating frequency to other bands. So let's suppose 1.8 gigahertz is a congested. Can we switch it to 2.1 or some other bands as we say? So here, when we look into the classification of front-end antennas of cognitive system, we have a ultra-wideband sensing antenna and communication antenna. So basically, this communication antenna, which is an integral part of cognitive radio antenna, is basically a reconfigurable antenna. So this is here we can use a frequency reconfigurable antenna or frequency reconfigurable MIMO antenna design. So the most of the antenna that are appeared in literature is talking about either single element reconfigurable or MIMO in MIMO configuration for the communication antenna for the cognitive radio front end. Here are some example for the cognitive radio antenna system. I will go briefly into the design aspects of this antenna. Basically, this antenna, which is a PFAB antenna and monopole antenna. So we have actually integrated a wideband antenna. This is my wideband antenna for cognitive radio. And here on the top side, we have two antennas in MIMO configuration that are basically used as the communication. So these two antennas are basically, if we look into the details, basically these are folded antennas. So here basically when we go back from the top, so we have a certain element on the bottom of this elevated PCB. So here we are using pin diodes to achieve reconfigurability in a band from 0.7 gigahertz to 3 gigahertz, along with the sensing capability of the cognitive radio. The second element here, we have used an ultra-wideband sensing antenna now with a planar structure. So this planar structure, we have ground plane. The ground plane is used as a ultra-wideband sensing antenna, and it is acting as a ground plane for the communication antenna. So these antenna, the two MIMO configuration antenna, basically is antenna that is integrated with pin diode and varactor diode to achieve the reconfigurability. In frequency reconfigurability, how we can achieve multi-band frequency. So here it's an example of multi-band frequency reconfigurable antenna. So here we have a slot antenna, and this slot antenna is basically operating at single band. So now with this single antenna on the top side, it is loaded with SRR structure, split ring resonator structure, to make it multi-band. So I will show you here some characteristics or the reflection coefficient curves of this antenna. So if I have this only a structure, so this structure will resonating at one band. So I can, in the second configuration in case B that you can see here, I'm just increasing the electrical length to bring down the resonance frequency to lower band. But when I add the split range resonator and properly optimize it, so now the single band antenna is now acting as a multi-band or tri-band antenna. So here we can see that in this configuration we have multi-band antenna operation. An antenna is operating at let's suppose 1.8 or 2.4 and around 2.9 gigahertz. So here, just using the split ring resonator, the single band antenna become a multi-band antenna. So now I'm using a varactor diode. This antenna is now basically varactor loaded. So when I'm changing the varactor capacitance of the varactor diode, here we can see all these three bands are basically varying very smoothly from 2.9 to around 3.1 in the upper band, 2.5 to 2.85 in the second band, and 1.7 to 2.27 in the third band. So here we can see that the same antenna, just a single band antenna, and we played with it in such a way to make it multi-band antenna, and then using the varactor diode to make it reconfigurable over a very wide band for this lower frequencies from 1.7 to 3.1 gigahertz. The next type of antenna that is reported in literature is to achieve the independent and concurrent frequency reconfigurability in this design. So basically this antenna is varactor loaded, and this is a tri-band structure. But the beauty of this antenna here is that we are, if you look back into our antenna, we have no control on each band. When I'm changing one band, the other band is automatically changing, but we want more freedom, that if I'm interested only to change my one band and leaving the other band as it is. So basically this antenna or this design basically address this point, that this is a multi-band antenna, and I can switch any band, the first band, the second band, or third band, while maintaining the or keeping the resonance of the other two bands at the same frequency. The next type of antenna that we have here is basically bandwidth frequency reconfigurable antenna. So basically here we are basically changing the bandwidth. So here the same antenna with certain configuration of pin diodes, I can get a wide band, I can get a narrow band within a certain band. So basically if you are interested, or if you are looking into a design that they can operate in a wide band as well as in a narrow band, or a medium or with a moderate band, we can use such type of configuration to achieve it by using certain type of switches or configuration to achieve the bandwidth reconfigurability. The fifth type, that is also one of the interesting design by Mohammad Ikram. Here basically we are using a slot antenna, and basically this slot antenna is working in the millimeter wave band as well as in the lower band at 2.1 to 2.7 gigahertz. So here, using the same antenna structure or same slots, we can switch this antenna or use this antenna as a millimeter wave antenna as well as a reconfigurable antenna in a wave band. Such type of integrated antenna designs are becoming very popular when we are switching from 4G to 5G. So these antennas are quite popular and a hot research topic for researchers and scholars. Another type of frequency reconfigurability and adding Yagi-Uda antenna structure to get the Yagi characteristic along with frequency reconfigurability. So here we are using basically a pentagonal slot, and this pentagonal slot is varying from 1.5 to 1 gigahertz. So there is a smooth variation of the resonating bands. Here, the problem for the slot structure that it is radiating in a omnidirectional pattern. So, but we want that antenna should be directed for 5G applications. So, can we make this as a Yagi to operate in a certain, or the the pattern should be directed in a certain way? Basically, we have used a reflector in this antennas, and after optimizing, we have seen that this antenna is Yagi reconfigurable, Yagi frequency reconfigurable, and that was appearing for the first time in open literature, where we have a good FBR ratio, front to back ratio over the entire frequency band. It is changing from 5 to 13 dB. Here is another structure of the Yagiuga antenna, and here we are using a planar structure, and the frequency band is from 2.5 to 4.5 gigahertz. This is a very huge bandwidth, or huge bands of operation for frequency reconfigurable antenna. And here the front to back ratio that we achieved in this frequency reconfigurable Yagi-like structure, that it is changing from 6 to 14 dB. The next type of antennas are the pattern reconfigurable antennas that are very popular in today's communication. So in this pattern reconfigurable antennas, basically we are switching the pattern of our antennas. So here you can see that this is my main antenna structure, and these are embedded with parasitic elements and are connected with certain switches. So by activating certain switch, here we can see that my antenna can be radiated in certain directions. So here you can see it is mainly towards 180 degree, 270 degree, or 0 degree. So it means from 0 to 360 degree, we can tilt our beam to certain angle. Another 5G pattern reconfigurable antenna design that is working at 4.5 to 5.2 gigahertz. Here we have basically a dipole, main dipole antenna, and basically these elements, which is just like a mushroom shape on the top and the hexagonal shape on the sides, and basically these are certain parasitic elements, and we want to connect them in a certain fashion so that the pattern of the dipole antenna can switch to different orientation. So here you can see that by activating certain elements, here we can see that we can get a omnidirection pattern for a dipole antenna, or the antenna, the radiation pattern can be directed to certain direction based on the activation of that parasitic element. Here it is very interesting design that is designed at millimeter wave band pattern reconfigurable antennas. In this antenna, we are using a DRA structure. Basically, my main radiating structure is this DRA, and I am using this EBG structure on the sides of this DRA structure. So basically, I want to activate certain structure of this EBG to tilt the radiation pattern. So here we can see that if we want to tilt our radiation pattern into certain directions, we are activating that EBG structure. So when this EBG structure is activated, then here we can see that the pattern of this antenna, DRI antenna, is into certain direction. And similarly, we can activate one element, we can activate 2 or 3. So it will give us basically a resolution of reconfigurability. So if we are working on only one antenna, so here we can see then we can get 360 by 60. So here we will get a 60 degree of freedom, and if we are using 2 element or 3 element, it will give us the resolution accordingly. This antenna is very important because we will find a very few antenna that is designed at a millimeter wave band with this pattern reconfigurability. Here, another MIMO antenna that is using basically a monopole structure as well as PIFA structure. The combination of both these structure, either using PIFA or monopole structure, we can have a certain type of reconfigurability. So here PP mode or PM mode is basically PP or P4 mode, PM for monopole mode, and so on. So by switching to different activating certain antennas, we can see that the radiation pattern will be in other direction. Here, the most important thing is that in 5G technology, how the pattern reconfigurable antennas will help us in beam forming for 5G network. So in 5G network, we know that there will be a massive MIMO implementation on the antenna sites. So the existing the systems or the antennas that are reported in literature are basically the massive MIMO are basically using the phased antenna array with some switching and heavy signal processing with beam forming algorithm. This antenna, the massive MIMO test bed antenna that was first appeared in literature and that was designed in Lund University, they are basically using an array of antenna to get the massive MIMO application in 5G technology. Some of the 5G massive MIMO antenna that are appeared recently for some sub 6 GHz band for 5G technology. Here, this is basically antenna unit that is called BBU 5900 is basically 5G base station antenna by Huawei. Here there are certain others that are produced by Samsung for access unit, and basically these different types of massive MIMO configuration are used in different scenarios. So here for 5G massive MIMO base station application, should we go for this phase array structure with heavy computation and a lot of back stage processing, or is there a possibility that we can use a pattern reconfigurable antennas to achieve the reconfigurability, or the I mean, can we change the patterns, the radiation pattern in certain direction using the pattern reconfigurability? This is a question mark, and most of the designers, researchers, or scholars are actually working on to get low processing, relatively easy front end massive MIMO application using pattern reconfigurable antennas. To conclude my presentation here, the use of wireless handheld devices are increasing tremendously. Reconfigurable antenna designs are crucial for current and future wireless handheld devices. In this talk, we have basically covered various types of antennas, their reconfiguration mechanism, and how we will use these type of antennas for various wireless communication. Several techniques are discussed in details, and various challenges are also outlined that will help the students and researchers to look, dig more into it and get with some novel and more designs that will have some business or commercialization potential. So that's it from my side. So now I will go to Dr. Noshirwan for any questions that I'll be happy to answer. Yes, please, Dr. Noshirwan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Faqat, for such a useful talk and very informative talk. We have a few questions lined up, so I will ask questions one by one. So the first question is, how can we simulate the effect of pin diodes or phase change material in simulation software such as CST?
So basically, we need to model it. When I was using pin diode or varactor diode, initially, I mean, these are not integrated with certain pin diodes or varactor diodes or some switches. So we need to basically model these antennas. So if you look into the pin diode, we have to look the equivalent circuit model of these pin diodes. So if we, I mean, if I simplify it, the pin diode is basically on and off switch. So when it is in a forward bias condition, this will offer a very low resistive path. And when it is reverse direction, it will not path and it will act like a capacitor. So definitely we will not be able to simulate it 100% as per given model, but somehow we can model it and we can achieve a very good understanding of the diode when we fabricate our design and get our Maillard patterns, our Maillard reflection coefficient or other parameters. So yes, we can do it by properly modeling the diodes in reverse bias condition or forward bias condition, just emulating it. Definitely we will not be able to supply certain voltages to make it reverse bias or forward bias or changing the reactive impedance of the varactor diode, but by proper modeling we can estimate it very accurately, and these have been shown widely in literature. I hope this answers the question.
Thank you. The second question is how to design a wideband circularly polarized reconfigurable MIMO antenna. So maybe you can just tell some generic steps.
Yeah, exactly. So when let's suppose if you are looking back into the wideband antennas, the wideband antenna like monopole antenna that we have, basically when it is linearly polarized, the linearly polarized antenna have certain directions of current. So we need to change the direction of current to get the reconfigurability. As I mentioned that the polarization reconfigurability is basically achieved by changing the current path without affecting the resonance frequency. As we are talking about wideband antenna, so several wideband antennas are available. So we need to play with the current configuration to make it circular. So this can be achieved using one feed by using some parasitic elements, or most of the techniques that are available in the literature are using dual port to make the direction of current circular, which will map it a circular polarized antenna or the E field in a far field radiation pattern, the direction of the E field.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. The other question is which material is best suited as substrate for X-band antenna design? And the same part of that question is if can we use a ferrite substrate in microswitch patch antenna to enhance the bandwidth?
So actually I did not work on the X band, so honestly I cannot answer this question directly that which type of material are the best. But for the lower band, basically we are using the Rogers substrate base for 3 gigahertz or 6 gigahertz band, or even into 28 gigahertz band. That we have used the Rogers substrate and it was working very fine. To be honest, for the X band, I did not look into the details that which substrate will be the best suited for such configuration.
Okay, thank you. The next question is guide about DGS techniques means how different slots in ground affect results of an antenna design.
So basically, this DGS structure is very helpful. When we are using MIMO antenna design, the mutual coupling between closely spaced antenna elements, as we are always looking for a compact structure. These compact structure, we have to place our antennas very near to each other. So in such type of antennas, we need to design a DGS that they basically reduce the mutual coupling between the closely spaced antenna elements. So yes, DGS are very useful for achieving the high isolation between the MIMO antenna elements. So definitely we look into the current distribution of the antennas, and then we will place our DGS structure accordingly. I mean, if there is a coupling on one side of the antenna, so this DGS structure, which will act as a filter, will be placed on that after analyzing the current distribution on the 2 ports or between the 2 antenna elements. So basically this will be a recursive process, and we have to look into the distribution for by parametric sweeps, and I mean we have to isolate the current that are coupled between the two antenna elements. So basically this will help us, the certain shapes that can help us in achieving this high isolation between antennas.
Right.
I hope
Thank you.
it will answer. Yes. Sure.
Yes, thank you. The next question is there any requirement of frequency reconfigurable antenna design at millimeter wave? If yes, then what kind of diodes should be used?
Basically, frequency reconfigurable antennas are used at lower band where we have a hunger of operating across various frequency bands. At millimeter wave band, if you look into it, these are already wide band with wide band. So basically, designing a frequency reconfigurable antennas are not actually required in millimeter wave band. But yes, there are certain diodes that will help us in achieving, let's suppose, pattern reconfigurability, not the frequency reconfigurability. But if one is interested, he can use the diode. So here in this antenna, which I showed here, basically in this antenna, that is millimeter wave pattern reconfigurable antenna at 60 gigahertz, they are using a diode MA4AGFCP 910. So yes, there are diodes available that are operating at millimeter wave band as well. And this is one example that you can integrate it if you are interested to look for the frequency reconfigurability. Yes, if you want to switch your antenna from one band, let's suppose 28 gig to another 5G band that is at 38 gig or 60 gigs, yes, the diodes are available and you can use this diode that I mentioned here.
Thank you. Another question relating to varactor diode, that how critical is impedance matching when selecting a varactor or pin diode?
Exactly. This is very interesting. When we are using varactor diode, basically varactor diode is not changing the electrical length. If you look into the details of the reconfigurable antenna that I mentioned, let me go into one antenna and I will show you here. Just give me 1 minute. So here, so when we look into the varactor diode, basically this is changing the circuits of the antenna itself, not changing the effective electrical length of the antenna. So here, when we are using the varactor diode, basically this varactor diode helping us to match the reactive part of the input impedance at a lower band. So if I am using, let's suppose I have this antenna and this antenna is resonating at certain band, let's suppose 2.4 gigahertz. So at this 2.4 gigahertz, I match it well with the input impedance. So the real part is around 50 and the imaginary part is around 0, and it is well matched antenna. So now this is working at 2.45 gigahertz. So can I bring down the resonance frequency, or I can change the resonance frequency to certain bands? So what will happen when we are using varactor diode? So when we are using varactor diode, basically this varactor diode is helping us to map the reactive part of the input impedance to the lower band. So by properly placing or optimizing the antenna, this diode will match the reactive part of the input impedance matching, let's suppose at 1.5 gigahertz. So now that was initially matched at 2.45 gigahertz. Now it is matched at 1.5 gigahertz. So when we are changing and when we are changing the reverse bias voltage across the terminal of the varactor diode, basically it is matching with the reactive part that is should be nearly equal to 0 when it is matched, and this is basically helping us in achieving the well matched antenna structure. So in this way we can change our frequency from certain band to another band. I have this complete analysis in some of my paper that is appeared in Transactions. in 2019, and also one of the paper that is appeared in AWPL. So you can look into the detailed analysis of the matching of these diode with the input impedance. I hope this answered the question.
Thank you. The next question is it possible to design a pattern reconfigurable antenna with a specific angles? If yes, how?
Excellent. So if we look back to the pattern reconfigurable antenna, so when we look back into pattern reconfigurable antennas, so here this is my main radiating structure. In this main radiating structure, well, if it is patch, it will direct to certain angle broadside radiation pattern. So now what is the philosophy that we are achieving the frequency reconfigurability? As I mentioned, that the beauty of the pattern reconfigurable antennas are that we are changing the distribution of current. So let's suppose if I want to activate a parasitic element that is connected with the antenna element. So here we can see that let's suppose if I want to make this active or the other element active, so I have to activate that part so that the current will be in that branch. So if these are certain branches, these certain branches, when we are activating it, that will lead the beam to other direction. So now the parasitic element that we are using in these four configurations, we can use in the middle or some other point to get a beam in that direction. So basically using the parasitic elements, yes, we can do we can achieve the reconfigurability in a particular direction that we are interested in. Yes, Dr.
Thank you. There's a long list of questions, so I have to go through them. So one question is for pattern reconfigurable antennas. Can we design antennas for required scan angles for known frequencies instead of generating scan angles arbitrarily? For example, can I generate 50-degree angle at 27 gigahertz by using certain rules instead of getting it by mistake?
So let's suppose if I want to, again, the answer that I mentioned before applies to this question as well. So here basically this antenna that is a millimeter wave band pattern reconfigurable antenna, and question is also on reconfigurable antenna. So this DRA structure, which is in the middle, and I'm using some parasitic elements. In other words, we can say these are the ABG structures. So here you can see that activating a particular structure and making the other as a reflector. So if we have a reflector on the other side and one antenna is conducting and it is basically mapping the current in that direction, definitely we will get the pattern in that direction instead of directing to the other direction. So the most widely technique that are used by using the parasitic elements in certain direction and connecting with the main radiating structure to achieve the reconfigurability in that direction. So I hope this answered the question.
Yes, thank you. There's also a time for a couple of questions now only because it's already 1 p.m. So one question, can you share details of circle polarized antenna for 2.4 gigahertz? We need it for transmitter and receiver to access amateur radio satellite. Can be anything about 12 dBi gain. So
we need to dig more about the literature that for the certain requirements, that what are the available literature and can we make it. Basically here we were discussing that the pattern reconfigurability with certain I mean the gain that we can achieve. So we need to look into the details of such antennas that are available in literature, and then we can design using the same principles, the reconfigurable techniques that we can switch into certain direction. So for this particular the performance, I haven't go through any antenna in my literature, but definitely there will be some sort of available antenna that might be available and can help us. But again, the techniques that are available that you can use them to get such type of antennas with desired performance.
Thank you. So one last question. For designing millimeter wave frequency recoverable MIMO antenna, is pattern diversity important factor? For millimeter wave antennas are usually required to be directive, but we can't predict antenna pattern in advance.
So basically, when we are talking about the user equipment or the user terminal, wireless handheld devices, or we are talking about the base station. In base station, yes, we are looking for to switch our beams into different direction. It can be in azimuth plane as well as in the elevation plane. But for user equipment or the terminal wireless terminals that we have, we are not actually looking for the pattern reconfigurability in user terminal, as we are always changing the orientation of our equipment. So it's not really needed to have a pattern reconfigurability in user equipment. So the massive MIMO concept that we are using are adopted for the base station antennas. So what was the question for frequency reconfigurability?
That pattern reconfigurability is an important factor or no? Pattern diversity is an important factor or no when we design the FR MIMO antenna?
No. Actually, for MIMO antenna, we are not interested in the pattern. Basically, this is the beauty of MIMO antenna design, that whatever the pattern that we have, we are not looking for the line of sight communication. We are looking for the non-light of sight communication, and the MIMO antennas with any patterns that can work for us. But for base station, yes, it matters.
Okay, thank you very much. I think there's a long list of questions, but it's very difficult to ask each question due to time limitation. Dr. Fadl, maybe you share your email address so that any audience, if they have any question, they can directly write to you. Maybe you can share.
Sure. I'll be more than happy to any questions that. So here I will write it. So that is rifaqat@kfupm.edu.sa. rifaqat@kfupm.edu.sa.
Okay. Thank you very much. I thanks all the audience as well for joining us. If you have any specific question, Dr. Faqat has shared his email address, so you can write him directly to ask your specific question related to design of MIMO antenna and the frequency reconfigurability or pattern reconfigurability, etc. So I would like to now end this session. I would like to thank Dr. Faqat. I would like to thank KFUPM for accepting our invitation to making this very useful, very informative webinar possible. I especially thanks Dr. Faqat for sparing your time. I would like to thank you on the behalf of our principal as well, Engineer Shahid Niaz. He also would like to thank you and KFUPM for making this collaboration possible. I hope that in the future we will continue this webinar series as well, and hope to see you at other webinars as well with us. So that's it for my side. If you have any final comments, Dr. Faqat, otherwise we'll conclude this session.
Thank you so much, Dr. Noshirwan, and I really appreciate the efforts of the this joint chapters team for organizing such webinars. So I also really thankful to all the teams that you have and giving me this opportunity for the talk. Thank you once again, and thank you all the audience for joining us for this session.
Thank you very much, Dr. Faqat. So hope to see you at some later occasion as well. Till then, thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.